It was just another Tuesday evening in my neighborhood, a quiet little place with neatly trimmed hedges, rows of parked cars, and a garden that the residents of our building took turns caring for. I had just come home from work, and as usual, I decided to take a short walk through the garden before heading upstairs. The flowers were in bloom, the grass freshly mowed, and then I saw her. She wasn't a stranger exactly, but I didn't know her name either. She drove a small silver sedan and, as far as I could tell, lived somewhere in one of the buildings around ours. I had noticed her a couple of times before, but what she did that day made my jaw drop. She had just parked near our building's garden. Instead of getting out and walking to her apartment, she leaned over, grabbed something from inside her car, rolled down her window, and without a shred of hesitation, threw a crumpled fast food bag right into the hedge. I froze. She didn't even glance around to see if anyone was watching. It was like she thought the world was her personal trash can. At first I thought, okay, maybe it was an accident. But no. She shut the window, locked her car, and walked off like she hadn't just trashed the garden we all worked hard to keep nice. I could have yelled at her right then, but I decided to try something subtle first. I walked over, picked up the greasy bag, it still smelled like fries, and marched straight to her car. With the most polite form of revenge I could think of, I placed the trash neatly on her windshield and tucked it under the wiper. I didn't want to scratch her car or do anything permanent, just make a point. In my mind, I imagined her coming back, seeing the trash, realizing someone had caught her in the act, and thinking, wow, maybe I should just use a trash can next time. The next morning, I headed downstairs just in time to see her car leaving. The spot she'd been in was now empty, except for one thing. The trash. The same greasy, crumpled bag was lying right there on the asphalt. She hadn't thrown it away. She had removed it from her windshield and just dropped it on the ground. That's when I knew this wasn't an accident. This was who she was. And I needed backup. Now, my dad, well, let's just say he's the kind of man who doesn't take disrespect lightly. He's not dangerous, but he's creative. Over the years, I've seen him pull off little stunts that would make anyone think twice before messing with him again. Like the time a guy cut an elderly woman in line at a gas station. My dad didn't say a word. He just followed the man's car afterward, waited for him to park, and quietly deflated his tires, just enough to ruin his day, not enough to cause any damage. So naturally, I went to him for advice. Dad, I said, there's this neighbor who's been littering in the garden. I tried giving her trash back, but she just dumped it on the ground again. I want to annoy her, but without damaging her car. What would you do? He thought for a second, then his eyes lit up. I've got just the thing, he said, and reached into his toolbox. He pulled out a large black zip tie, the heavy-duty kind. Here's what you do, he explained. Next time her car is parked, lift both windshield wipers up. Loop this zip tie around them nice and tight. Then push the wipers back down so they're locked together. She won't be able to use them until she cuts it off. And unless she keeps scissors in her car, she's gonna have to walk all the way back home to get them. Annoying as hell, but totally harmless. I grinned. It was perfect. A couple of days later, I spotted the silver sedan again. My heart gave a little jump. Showtime. I waited until the coast was clear. Then I walked over, pretending to scroll on my phone like I was just passing by. I lifted both her wipers, looped the zip tie through, and tightened it until it wouldn't budge. Before I left, I took the same greasy fast food bag. Yes, I had kept it this whole time, and placed it right back on her windshield. This time I added a note. If I find this trash in the garden again, next time I will cause damage. Don't test me. I stepped back, admiring my work, and walked away. I didn't get to see her reaction in person, but I can picture it perfectly. She walks up to her car, sees the trash and the note, gets annoyed, reaches for the wipers and realizes they won't move. She pulls harder. Nothing. Now she has a choice, rip them and risk paying for repairs, or take the walk of shame back home to find scissors. And knowing the type of person she was, I'm betting she was late for work that day. Did it stop her from littering forever? I can't say for sure. But one thing's certain, she now knows someone is watching. Someone who's not afraid to make her day just a little more inconvenient. Since then, I've actually shared my dad's trick with friends. One used it on a guy who kept parking in her reserved spot. Another used it when a neighbor blocked her driveway. It works every time. And the best part? No damage, no legal trouble, just pure harmless annoyance. So next time someone thinks they can get away with being inconsiderate, remember the humble zip tie.